Hi, welcome. My name is Holly Mecker. I'm an instructional technology specialist here at Elkhart Community Schools. I am excited to talk to you today about Seesaw, what it is, how to use it, and let's get oriented with the interface. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. All right, so to access Seesaw, we're going to head over to seesaw.me and we're going to go ahead and select I am a teacher. Both you and your students are going to be logging in with Google. So I'm going to click this button that says Teacher Sign In with Google. I'm going to select my school Elkhart account and I'm going to go ahead and log in with my ECS username and password. So here I am in Seesaw. This is where it first jumps you into the program. It starts you, as you can see at the top, in your learning journal. This journal is where all of your student work will appear. Any student that has submitted work to you or turned things in or posted in their journal will show up on your class journal. So as I scroll through here, I can see the student's name in the corner. I can see the work that they've posted. And that work just continues to scroll through all the way through the beginning of the school year. So this is their journal. You can also organize this up here in the corner. You can organize this by date. And so if I wanted to flip over to my calendar, I can say, I only want to see the work that was done maybe on the 24th. There was a sub that day. Let me just see what work was completed that day. I could only look at work from that day. I'm going to flip back to the regular view, which is just the scrolling view of our journal. Over here on the right, you can see I'm in my class journal. I also can pick a specific student's journal. So you can see here, Holly Mecker, this is my pretend student. She has 33 posts turned in. So if I choose her name, now her name is highlighted, and I'm only viewing the things that Holly has turned in. So just this one student's journal. I also have a sample student. So sometimes when I'm going through and I'm doing work on the board, I want a place that I can do the assignment right along with my students. I can always submit that assignment as a sample student, and then that work is in here as well. Over on the right, you see that we are in the journal. You also could choose activities. This is where you can go to see any assignment that you have scheduled for your students, that you have posted for your students, that maybe you have archived for your students. So here we have assigned to class. These are assignments that my students have access to right now. So I can see how many responses I have turned in, how many are waiting for approval. So I have it set on so if a student turns in work, I have to approve that work before it gets posted to their journal, just in case I need to send that work back to them. And there's also can see work that's been saved as a draft. So maybe a student is working on this assignment. They're not done with it yet and they have it saved as a draft. I can see where they're at in the progress just by opening this up. All their assignments would be down here. These ones are turned in. If it was a draft, there would be a little box here that just says draft, so I know that it's not submitted yet. Click out of there. So these are their assignments, anything they've assigned, anything I have scheduled. So if I wanted to schedule this ahead of time, I try to be a few days ahead so that I'm not always trying to hurry and play catch up. And I can see those scheduled here. And then I also can see archived assignments. We are all done with the assignment. I don't want them to see this again. It was an assessment. I want this to be hidden from my students. I can archive that so students can no longer turn in that work. Okay, and then again, another view is by the calendar. We can see all the assignments that I have assigned to my students based off date. If I scroll back, I can probably see when some of these were assigned. So 5 activities were assigned this day, 1 activity was assigned this day. So if I only wanted to see that one activity, I could choose the calendar. Here's that one activity. Okay. And then I could go back into April and I want to check out these 5. Here are these assignments from that day. Okay, so that's just another way you could organize yourself. So that is your activities. Those are things that you have assigned to your students. Okay. We will go over what that looks like as well, but let's finish this bar first. Next, we have our inbox. This is where messages are sent and received. So anything that I have sent to my students, sent to my families, or any announcements that the school has sent out as a district-wide announcement. If I choose here, you can see that I believe most principals and deans have access to send out these school-wide announcements. So those are sent at the admin level. So this isn't something that you would be sending. Okay, so let me head on back to students. I can send my students an announcement to all my students, and I can send individual messages to parents. So if I only wanted to see what I sent what a certain student's parent, I could find their name down here in this list. Yours will, of course, have more names. You'll have more than one student. But these are messages that I've sent to this parent. So I've sent this parent messages that went to everyone. And then it also would send messages just to this one individual just by typing down here in the bar. There is a progress tab where you can keep track of who has turned in what activities. So if I scroll back, I believe we were looking at some May dates where we had activities. There we go. Here's that one activity. I can see that student has turned that in. It's a green circle. I can also see they've turned in 1 out of 1 activity. So you can see that this could be really beneficial. Here's an example. This week, this practice student didn't do any of these activities. So now the circle is red. If it's turned in but not accepted yet, so you haven't approved it, it's a green circle that's not filled in. So that's what those progress will look like. All your students' names will be listed down here. All the assignments will go across the top, and those boxed circles will be checked in as that work is submitted. And then last, we have a blog. If you have your blog activated, you'll find your blog over here on the side. We're not going to get into what the blog does now, but we will have a video coming later if you're interested in the blog. So that is just this last button here on the side if you have that activated. All right, let's jump in and see what it looks like to now assign my students an activity. So here's this big green add button. If I choose add, I can do a few options here. I can post student work, I can assign activities, or send an announcement. Let's go ahead and go to assign activity. So when this loads, there's a few different screens you'll be able to see. First, you have your activities that are in your library, things that you have created, things that you have found and adapted, things that you have saved. Okay, they're all found here in my library. If you push view all at the top, you can see I have 533 activities here in view all. And as I scroll down, I also have collections. Collections are like folders that will save a whole bunch of activities together. And so if I have a back to school folder, so if I wanted to assign one of these activities to my students, I can go ahead and push assign. I can choose the class that I want to assign to. Let's just say I'm going to assign it to all of my classes. You also can change what students you want it to get. So maybe this assignment only needs to go to a certain student. You can edit your students and decide who you want those to go to. I'm going to send it to everyone, and then I'm going to assign. Here is where you can schedule those activities. Remember, we said you can be a few days ahead if you wanted to. So I can be like, well, this isn't for next Monday, and I want to make sure they get it early in the morning at 8 a.m., and I'm going to go ahead and assign that activity to my students. It jumps you in. You can instantly see it in your classes here if you wanted to. I'll go ahead and jump in and look. Under scheduled, I now have this activity. You can see nothing has been turned in because it's not available to our students. Let's go ahead and try it as a student. Let's add a response. Again, just as that sample student, you can jump in as any student that you would be interested in jumping in as. I find it best just to be your sample student. So this will load and you'll see the activities for our students. Here it has a link. So this is a link that goes out into YouTube and you can listen to this story. And then there's different slides so students can answer these. So they could add a text box if they wanted to respond with text. They could use a pencil or a marker. I really like to draw. So if they wanted to handwrite, you may not know that and maybe they want to enter a shape. I could turn this into a basketball. You may not know that I like to play basketball. If you know me, you know that's not true. I do not like basketball. I am not good at basketball. But it is an easy shape for me to draw. So there we go. I believe that's a basketball. I should have put that in there. I do not like. And you can also put in pictures. So if I push my camera, I can take a photo right now. I could take a video, I could upload. So I'm going to take a photo. I'll smile. And here we go. Instantly puts my picture in, a picture of me. All right, so there's a lot that students can do within Seesaw with this interface. So what I'm working on right now is exactly the same tools my students have. On these pages, I have a lot of questions. So maybe I have a student who isn't so strong at writing. Writing's not their strongest suit. They can always add voice, and they can put their answer right here. And just by pushing record voice, it automatically starts recording my voice. So right here, it's recording what I'm saying. I'll push the green check mark. And now you can instantly hear the voice behind here. Voice, it automatically starts recording my voice. So right here, all right. So it could be really powerful, so you can accommodate for all of your students. You can accommodate for students who have maybe some special learning needs or are EL students. Any student would love to record their voice sometimes. So this is an option for you to add audio. You can add the audio yourself. So if I wanted to read this to my students, I could put a sound for each one of these questions. So that's a great way you can add audio. You can also change the background if you're interested, or add an external link. And then this microphone, let's move on to the slide. This microphone is going to record the entire screen, including my voice. So it's going to record everything that it sees within Seesaw. So it's recording what I'm saying, it's recording what I'm drawing, just like that. I can push done in the top corner, and now it turned it into a video in Seesaw. So it's recording what I'm saying, it's recording what I'm drawing. So now we have that video of me doing the work. That is so powerful when we want students to explain their thinking. Why did you do it this way? Now you can explain it to me. It's also great for math. You can watch their steps. Kindergarten teachers, first grade teachers, it is great to see how students are forming their letters. We can watch if they're forming their A correctly. We can watch if they're adding the five different pieces to get a total of 5 as they tap on those pieces. And so it's a really powerful way to see student learning. So I'm going to push that check. This green check mark always saves you. It gets you out of your screen. And this is the Save as Draft button. So if you're not quite done, you can push Save as Draft. I'm going to do the green check. It will save this. So now automatically goes to my journal, right? I'm in my journal. And then, oops, go back. And then in my activities, again, remember this one's scheduled. It's not assigned to my class yet. I can see I have one response here. So if I opened this is where I could view that response. I could go through everything that student did. It's right there waiting for you. You can watch the videos, hear the audio, you can do all of that. If I schedule this for the wrong date, I can also edit that. So say you wanted to assign an activity and you did not want to start from scratch. You did not want to make your own from the beginning. You can always search the community library. So in the library, these are all lessons that are submitted by Seesaw ambassadors that you can use in your classroom. So just go ahead and grab one. I'm going to do Music and More from the 1920s. So say I open this, I loved it. I want to make some changes. I don't want to straight assign it to my class. I'm going to edit it a little bit. Maybe I want to add my own instructions with my voice. I'm going to go ahead and, so I'm going to push this pink heart right here. This heart will add it to your library. So now if I go to my library, it's going to be the first assignment that I see. I can open that up and I can copy and edit. So now this is making me my own copy. I can delete those instructions. I can add my own voice. This is me reading the instructions. So now those instructions are there. This is me reading the instructions. So I have that for my students. They have all those instructions. I could maybe add an example if I wanted to. And then if I wanted to go into this template and edit this template and change it, maybe there was too many pages. I didn't want the second page. I just wanted this first page with links. I could delete this page if I wanted. Notice this page here, these are all different links, so you can include as many links as you want to on your templates for your students to access. So that's how we're able to edit any activity that you found. I've saved it. Now I can go ahead and assign this to my students. I'm going to assign it right now. View activity in Learning Journal. I know that it's been assigned. I'm going to X out. You can also go through the school and district library. So these are only activities shared by members of our school or our members of our district. So these are 6th grade activities. I can see that I can look through any of these. I can easily share my activities into this library. So if you want to work with your cohorts to share with each other, say I made this one right here. I am perfectly designed. It's a read aloud. My teammate wants this. Well, I've shared it to the district library. They can go in there and they can get that. So let's look at this new one we just created. This 1920s music. This one's by Holly Miss Mecker right here. Notice the difference. This is the one I saved. If you wanted to get rid of that, you can. You could unfavorite it if you wanted to, simply by opening it up and pushing that pink heart again, and it would disappear from the library. But let's say I wanted to share this with my district and my school. I'm going to push the 3 dots. I'm going to share that activity, and I want to share to school and district libraries. I have the share to community library. Again, that's only for Seesaw ambassadors. So if you're a Seesaw ambassador, you could share there. Otherwise, you could share here. You enter in your grades, your subjects, and your school should be here. And then you'll push share. And now this activity should be found inside of the 6th grade activity library so that anyone can access that. There it is, shared so anyone can access it. So those are your activities. You can create your own through My Library by pushing this new activity button, and you're going to start fresh with a brand new template. You could find one from the school and district, or you can find one from the community. Let's head back to our class and see what else you can do in this green button. So this is where we went to assign an activity. You also, remember, you push that to also create an activity, but you can also send an announcement. Say I wanted to send something to all my family members, or I want to send it to all students and family members, or just all my students. I'll send it to everyone. So I'll type in my announcement. This is a practice announcement. I could attach anything from Google Drive. So maybe you made a newsletter you want to send. I could attach a photo, maybe a drawing, a video. I can attach any of those things and I can send. It pops me back out to my main page in my inbox. These are my student announcements, my family announcements. You'll notice it's also right there. Parents can reply directly to me. They cannot reply all. So any message that a parent sends comes straight back just to me and not to anyone else. I just got a notification that my student, Holly Mecker, my child, Holly Mecker, just submitted an activity. So if you have a parents attached to your accounts, they can get notifications anytime they've posted to their learning journal, or if you get an announcement. So on my announcement came through as a text, and it says Holly Mecker in Learning Journal, and it says this is a practice announcement. So it'll send me exactly the text of that announcement that I've sent. All right, the last thing I want to show you is the settings to make sure your settings are set up correctly for your Seesaw. So this wrench here in the corner will get you to your class settings. This is how you can change the class name. If your students, when they go to change their classes, they have a lot of options, about 8 to 10 options. If you want one of your classes to be the very first one they see, the very one at the top, you can throw something at the beginning of this class name to jump it to the top. Maybe you want to put a symbol. Maybe you want to put in an emoticon. You could have a thumbs up for so that will jump to the very top of their class. Okay, anytime it's a number or a symbol, an icon, it brings it up to the top. You could add a co-teacher here if you wanted to have a co-teacher. You could change the color. Maybe I don't want that blue, maybe I want something purple. I could change my icon. Maybe it's a music class. Okay, this should already be set for you at Google. You shouldn't have to do anything here. Students' likes and comments, those can be staying on because they are only commenting on their own work. This should be turned off. Students can see each other's work. We have to keep Seesaw private. Okay, if students are turning in classwork, we don't want students to see each other's classwork. We don't want students to see teachers' comments on other students' work. So we have that turned off. I like my new items to require approval so I can see their work before it's submitted. I like to have on my sample student. And then here with item editing, this is personal choice. I always want my students to be able to edit their work so they're turning in best work. I have that turned off. I can also see there's times when maybe I wouldn't want that on. If I have an assessment going through on Seesaw and students have submitted their work, maybe I don't want them to be able to edit that. So maybe there's times when you might want that to be turned off. And then this should be turned off. Students should not be able to edit who is tagged in posts. That would keep students from being able to tag each other in posts. As you scroll down, here's the family access. I have that turned on. You can invite families through an email or you can invite families through a phone number. So you'll enter in a phone number here and you'll invite families, and that will instantly send a message to that phone number or that email to try to connect them to your Seesaw. So I'm going to go ahead and return to my journal. All right, back to families. I allow parents to comment, like, and share their own students' work. Parents can only see their child's work. Again, that's your opinion, what you'd like to do with that. And if you're interested in the blog, here's where you're going to turn that blog on. Again, we're not going to talk about that here, but if you're interested in the blog, you'll find it right here, along with your folders and progress. So I'll scroll back up to the top and automatically save. So I'm just going to X out in the corner. So those are your settings. So your main place here that you're looking to go, your name in the top corner. If you tap it, you can switch between your classes. Your buttons down here, you can access your journal, your activities, and your inbox. And this green plus button is how you're going to send your announcements or sign activities. This post student work just allows you to post something to your journal without going through an activity. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, give me a call. I'd love to talk Seesaw with you. Seesaw is a really great way for us to have students engage with work in different ways than they would if it was on paper. We can let them add their voice. We can let them add their own creativity. So I encourage you to make sure you're still utilizing Seesaw even as we are back in the classroom. So again, my name is Holly Mecker. Feel free to reach out with any questions. Thanks for joining us today.